Learning Chinese myself taught me a lot about the importance of habit building. Because when you think about it, of course, if you want to get better at Chinese or any large project that requires a lot of small steps that creates a larger constructed finished project, you need to be able to have consistent behaviors that get applied on a daily basis. And this isn't necessarily a super intuitive process how to make this happen, because you've already got a bunch of habits and routines built into your day. And so how are you going to change that and put something new in? You know, despite the fact that I've made many mistakes on my Chinese journey and I have lots of areas that I still need to learn about, one of the things that I have been most proud of during this period of time is that every single day I come into contact with Chinese, and every single day I'm a little bit better than I was the day before. What's going to make you great is the daily, seemingly mundane activities. So how are we going to make this happen? Well, of the four main components, we've got cue, routine, reward, and belief. And we're going to talk about each of these in succession throughout the course, broken apart. For today's video, we will talk about cue. A good cue is something that will get the ball rolling on starting to interact with Chinese. So, you have studying and you have sort of interacting with it more passively, or you have all sorts of different ways that you can come into contact with Chinese. The question is, what's going to spur you to do it? And there's lots of different possible things that might bring you there. So one might be the location. Do you have a location that you're going to set that's going to be your standard Chinese study / Chinese interaction location? I hesitate to say study all the time just because it makes it sound too academic. Sometimes it's just sitting and watching a Chinese TV show, but your location is a huge part of what's going to initially spur you to start doing something. So it could be the location along with something you add to it. So maybe you specifically the night before set up your computer so that Anki is ready to go and it's on the first flashcard. So that way the next morning when you wake up, as soon as you open your computer, boom, there it is. There's your cue. The second one is the reaction. The reaction is essential to making the cue effective. So we live in a day and age of many notifications, and completely normal to have reactions to these notifications that maybe, you wouldn't have had 10 years ago. You hear your phone go off, you go, oh, I need to immediately react to this. And that's completely understandable. However, consider using the airplane mode, using do not disturb. You could also have a positive reaction to something. For example, every time you notice that you have a Chinese person speaking nearby, or you're listening to some Chinese audio, you go, okay, I'm going to try to discover the first tone I hear. Or I'm going to try to discover the first problem initial I hear. These reactions actually can start to rewire the way that your brain approaches the actual state of building the habits. Now, this might seem obvious, number 3, how you feel, but it really is a great cue for what to do with your time, because language, unlike other academic disciplines, if you even want to call it an academic discipline, let's just say a knowledge pursuit, language acquisition is something that applies to all your moods. You want to be able to speak Chinese not just when you're very full of energy and focus and purpose. You also want to be able to speak Chinese when you're kind of tired and just want to chill out and, hang out on the couch. So this means that we want to be able to consider, when I'm in different moods, what should that cue me to do in terms of my study. So it could be, I'm very focused, I have a lot of energy, I'm going to do Anki, and I'm going to add new Anki cards, and I'm going to look up some new things. Okay, right now I'm not feeling like I want to do the same old, but I am feeling kind of curious, so maybe I'll go on to some new websites, find some new content that I hadn't seen before. That's great too. There's plenty of options available to you, but how you feel can really be a great guide to helping you know what to do next. The final aspect of this cue section is the time of day. It's going to be different for everybody when the time of day is that you're most focused, or when the time of day is that you most want to do more passive interaction with Chinese. But the main thing is that you want to be aware of it and plan for it. So think about it. A huge part of what helps build a habit is the night before writing down your plan for the next day. And one of the things about writing down your plan for the next day is plan the things you want to do first. Just the fun things that you want to do. If you can get Chinese involved in those fun things as well, that's excellent, but do that first. And here's why, because it creates something that can allow you to get that cue based on the time. So you go, all right, after lunch, I'm going to go meet my friend for coffee. That's something I want to do. And so when you're in the morning and you're doing your tasks for the morning, you can think about that and go, okay, well, my cue in the morning is to focus, and then my cue in the afternoon is to relax and have a bit more fun. So the time of day is really important as well. We'll leave it there for today, and we'll get into the other three sides of habit building later in the course.